It sounds science fiction, but so was the smartphone. Heck, my dad tells me stories about when they went to Epcot in the 70s and the 80s, and they saw they had a fax machine on display. And their mind was blown that you could send a piece of paper through this machine here, and then halfway across the world.
It's crazy.
How do you even use them?
And now I had to, like, I needed one of the office ladies to show me how to use the fax. Like, I was like, what do you do with this thing?
I can't believe people are still using them.
So, but it's all science fiction, but it's real and it's happening. And so, yeah, like we're going to have these conversations, or else we're going to end up with two classes of people: the class that has it and who has the advantages of it, and us normal folk who are walking around unchipped, still checking our smartphones.
You're gonna call that the mark of the beast?
steps behind.
Is that the mark of the beast?
Tell me you don't think about that.
Yeah, that might be it.
This just
For anybody who knows their Bible, tell me that's not the closest thing to the mark of the beast that we've developed. This idea of it's literally in our brain.
The vaccines, what people were trying to say. It's the vaccine is the mark of the beast.
Really?
Like,
were they? I didn't hear
yeah.
that thing. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's just one of those. It's a temptation. At the end of the day,
The mark of the beast is it's the way it's described in scriptures, like it's on somebody's head.
Yeah.
So this is literally in somebody, like it's in your head.
In your head. But like I said, go back to my original point that techne in the Old Testament, it comes from the fallen angels. Like the demons were the ones who taught Tubal-Cain the weapons of war, gave them how to do metallurgy and how to make medicines and how to do all those things. It's taking these things and warping it what his original intent was for. So it's like, that's why the Pope has talked about it at G7. He talked about the importance of humans intervening and not waiting until it's too late to step in with AI, and it's going to be Skynet and it's way too late before we actually talk about it. The only one who's ringing the bell is Elon Musk, even though he's putting in people's brains.
It's funny because he's
putting in people's brains, but I see it that what he's using it for now is very beneficial. To help people who are blind to see again, to do the things that they've been taken away from them, or to help them live, or things like that. That's different than using it just so I can be smarter.
Here's where I get skeptical though, because like they always they lead with a kind of a charitable. What's the word I'm looking for?
Benevolent.
Benevolent, yeah. It's always like a benevolent cause, or even if it's not benevolent, then it's something that's cool and attractive. So an example could be like when Google Maps first came out, and the fact that I could look up I remember like doing this with my family. Yeah. You look up your house, oh, there's our car, and there's our, like you try to figure out when they took the picture. And it was so cool at the time. Or when Ring doorbells like were really hot, it was like, oh yeah, I could see from my couch. Like, but now what's happening?
You woke up in 1984?
Yeah, I feel like I'm under surveillance all the time. Like you got to really worry about, now people got dash cams, they got the doorbells on the houses.
Everything is being
We're under constant surveillance, and we've kind of built the prison around ourselves. Nobody forced us to get the doorbells.
It just feels so dystopic and so just like, if we're using it, like you said, like to help blind people see, if we're using it to like help people who are at a disadvantage, rather than just giving your average person like an extra advantage, like that's just, at that point it's just like you're just having fun, like you're not doing anything helpful.
Well, you ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
No.
Well, that's what we're getting close to that now, where everybody, like, it's a lot of like mostly poor people living in like junkyards, and these people every day they live their lives on a headset and they play in video games, and they already have those mats. Like you could walk in any direction. I know Rogan talks about that. They got these warehouses where you go where they have like, you're fighting zombies and you're wearing this. Like that's how people are going to end up living their lives in that. And that's going back to the dystopian thing, is that America right now is a combination of both 1984 and Brave New World. Brave New World isn't
1984 for those that don't know.
From Orwell.
Yeah, George
Orwell, which is like a surveillance state. And Brave New World is more of like everyone's doped, everyone's on these drugs, and there's no like urge to want to be better. Everyone's in their own kind of caste, and it's just like that's what everyone's doing now. It's like everyone's on pharmaceutical drugs, or drinking too much, or doing drugs, or gambling, or just paying attention to sports. They're also like apathetic to everything that's going around them. It's like we get a combination of both. Like we're being told that freedom is slavery. We're being told that things are opposite now. It's like if you want to worship God, then you're trying to impose your religion on someone else, or things like this. So it's like we have to watch out. There's a third dystopian book that I really like, and it's Catholic, called Lord of the World, where it talks about how it even sets up the Antichrist coming in. But that's why these stories are popular, because the world feels like that right now. Like every show right now is about bomb shelters, like the fallout, or computers in your brain. Like, there's so many shows that are all about this right now. And is it because that's what we're thinking about, or because that's what's on the horizon? I mean, it's the Pope's even talking about the AI. It's like, that's a big deal. It's like where it got to the Pope. Like, I mean, what does he know about computers, really? Probably not a whole lot. I mean, he probably has people do everything for him.
And that's where I keep going back to, like, they seem like they're far off distant things, or they're not going to touch us. But the reality is technology has gotten so advanced in the age that we live in, and it's only going to exponentially get more advanced as it develops, that it's going to touch each life. Whether it used to be, if you were in the urban areas, you kind of would feel the impact a lot quicker as developments were rolled out, whether it's industrialization or developments in technology. If you were in the rural parts of the country, not so much. I mean, even my dad growing up in Jordan, if you're in the cities, it was one experience of life. But then once you went out into the countryside, I mean, those guys in Jordan, it's like you would think they were living at the time of Noah. I mean, just no running water, no plumbing, no nothing. And this is just a generation ago. Now it touches everybody. Now everybody, because it's so accessible, is able to be impacted by these developments. And so you got to think about it. So like this dystopian thing, it's like, I'm waiting for Apple Vision. Like, I'm waiting for those to become, I want to try one out. They look so cool.
Like, not that expensive.
Yeah. When it's not $5,000 and it's like $500,
Yeah, it is.
like the cost,
Yeah.
it's going to be that.
But at the same time, you also have a resurgence of people who are disconnecting, who want to homestead. I know a lot of people who are like, want to go buy land. They want to get away from everything. They want to disconnect. They want to raise their own food.
Was it Leah Lebsko? She had posted, it was a survey done that teenagers are saying they'd love to be able to disconnect from TikTok, but they could only do it if everyone else
did it.
Because they would feel left out. And that's how they get you again.
And that's this with this chip. If
everybody's doing it.
I'm at a disadvantage. Why can't I have it? But yeah, that Jonathan Haidt talks about that too, that in school, the kids would like to not have their phones in school. But if there's one kid who has their phone, then they're texting, they know what's going on, then they feel like they're left out or they're not in the group. But if everyone didn't have it, that's okay. So no, I get it. But if everyone's running off a cliff, I want to be the one saying, wait.
Yeah.
I don't know. I took Facebook and Instagram off my phone. I feel like a much
happier person, I bet.
You did that a while ago too. So I mean,
it's been a couple years now actually. So
it makes it a lot easier. I'm sure. I know, because it does. But you don't think if it's in your brain that it's going to be 1,000 times worse. That if you're going to be flooded with so much information, there's still, at the end of the day, it's not going to make your processor faster in your head. It may be able to do that, but how is it going to make it like work faster in your brain in real time? That's what I.
But that's the idea behind it. That eventually your processing ability is increased
in theory. But is it more of like you could pull up?
We're still dealing with the first generation of this thing, but when you've got Elon who's spearheading Neuralink,
but the problem
you'll be able to communicate without speaking.
Did you hear the part though? What he said, what the problem was with the first implant is that they put these probes all in your brain, and they keep falling off because they didn't realize how much the brain actually moves. The brain pulsates at the same rate that your heart does. It literally moves, and it's anywhere between 1 millimeter and like 3 millimeters, depending on it. So now they're doing these tests because this is groundbreaking stuff. They didn't know exactly how much the brain actually is moving, so they're popping out of the brain. I thought that was interesting. Like, I never heard that the brain pulsates with the heart. I'm like, that's interesting. So there's stuff where, they are going to make these advancements, and we'll see what happens. But just remember, it came originally from the demons. So